augmented reality runways, automated queuing systems, online availability checks. They're just some of the ways Rachel Lim is using technology to reinvent retail. It's the omni-channel approach that's helped take this Singaporean entrepreneur's female fashion line from a $300 side hustle in 2005 to a multi-million-dollar international fashion empire.
In this day and age where we both can get anything that we want online, any time of the day, you really need to give people a good enough reason to come all the way down to your store.
And it's a good job too, because she bet the house on it.
I was bonded to the government, so I had to pay off the bond to stop school to start the business. And the bond amounted to a 5-figure sum, which I obviously didn't have the money.
Right.
And so I had no choice but to go to my mom and ask for a loan.
32-year-old Rachel Lim is the co-founder and CEO of Love Bonito, a tech-first women's fashion brand that's restyling the runway for shopaholics. The customised clothing line today can be accessed from Hong Kong and Australia to the UAE and United States. But that vision was a long way off when Rachel's entrepreneurship story began some 15 years ago. At the time, she was starting a second-hand blog shop with her school friends Viola and Felda Tan.
My friends and I were still in school and we were just thinking of ways to earn extra pocket money. And we thought, okay, why don't we sell online our pre-loved clothes that we would wear once or twice or wouldn't wear it anymore. And 14 years ago was before the days of Instagram, iPhone, there was nothing of that sort. People would send money via snail mail, or they would do an ATM transfer and scan the receipts over to us.
The fashion business for Rachel wasn't just fun, it was fundamental. Growing up, her family was hit hard by the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Her parents had to give up the family home and take on second jobs to keep them afloat. So when she and her friends wanted to scale their business, she knew they had to work hard, pooling their $300 savings to go all in.
We ran out of clothes to sell, but people kept coming back for more. So we decided, you know what, why don't we use the money that we had saved to go overseas to import clothes to sell?
Soon, their fashion site, Bonito Chico, began to take off. But for Rachel, something didn't quite sit right.
A lot of international brands, they cater to European American women that have very different body proportions, skin tone, preferences, and even climate. So when we were import clothes to sell, there was always something that I wanted to change.
The trio were planning to create a fashion site specifically tailored to Asian women, with smaller sizes and kinder cuts. So they gave the business a fresh look, changing the name to Love Bonito, evoking a love letter to customers, and creating in-house designs to suit petite proportions. Despite having no business or fashion background, the friends knew they were onto something.
People from, for example, Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong would hear about us because they chanced upon the blog or the website. So that was when you realized that, hey, you can actually reach a lot of different people from all over the world. Yeah, with just a click.
Southeast Asia's online retail market has seen exponential growth over the years. From 2015 to 2019, e-commerce revenues in Southeast Asia grew by nearly 600% to $38 billion, and the sector is predicted to grow another 300% to $153 billion by 2025. Singapore, home of Love Bonito's headquarters, also boasts high per capita incomes, meaning the average e-commerce purchase there is 3 to 4 times higher than the rest of Southeast Asia. Sensing the opportunity, Rachel decided to commit. In 2009, with just 8 months of her teaching degree remaining, she quit university to take the lead on the business full-time.
Because I was juggling school and work, and I wasn't excelling in both, and I realized I had to focus on one. Also because I knew that we had to strike when the iron is hot. There was a lot of demand and the momentum was building up.
It was a costly decision. The then 21-year-old had to borrow her mum's 5-figure life savings to pay off her college bond. However, she said it was the motivation she needed to ensure her business was a success.
That was the year that my dad was going through bankruptcy. She was already working 2 jobs to support the family. And when I went to her, she was really worried because online starting had barely just begun even then. She was really worried that this wasn't legal or that the government would come after us and things like that. At the end, she decided to take a leap of faith.
Her mother's loan amounted to her entire life savings.
It was really, really tough, I think, for me as well, right? And I guess that's one of the reasons why I knew I could not fail or I could not let her down.
In the years that followed, Rachel and her co-founders doubled down on that dream to create affordable, accessible fashion for an Asian market. That included recruiting a team of designers to execute the full creative process, from research and fabric selection to development and final production, as well as expanding into physical stores. In 2013, Velda stepped back from Love Bonito. Meanwhile, Viola has transitioned to become a member of its board. Rachel is now the face of the brand and one of Southeast Asia's rising women entrepreneurs. Gail Wong, a coach and investor for female founders, tells me that's ever more important if women are to follow in her path.
It's so important to celebrate female successes. Firstly, they are already in the minority of all successes, but also female successes can look all sorts of different ways. So in the case of Rachel, she started it really young. She didn't have that Ivy League education that certain types of people look for. And she had this obligation to make it work.
Right.
And it's a really interesting trait that I've seen in some female founders. There's something bigger than sort of their own ambition.
Interesting. In 2019, Singapore ranked as the 8th best place globally to be a woman entrepreneur, behind the likes of the US, New Zealand, Canada, and Israel. However, Southeast Asian nations in general continue to lag behind due to limited access to support networks and funding.
In Singapore and in Southeast Asia, we are seeing support resources, organizations with targeted focus coming up to support female founders. So I'm already seeing groups in Myanmar and Vietnam that are opening up.
So what does that look like?
I think that you could characterize it in 3 buckets. One is resources and learning. The second is a bit more of a community approach and the idea that you're not alone. And then the third is the financial. And that could do with a lot more support.
Rachel says her business has been cash positive from early on, which has allowed her to pay her mum back in full. To date, Love Bonito has raised over $10 million from external investors, including online Japanese retailer Kakaku.com.
Incrementally, I paid her back whenever, I had any money at all. The priority for me was that, she wouldn't need to work 3 jobs or work so hard and such long hours and days.
Now, Rachel's focus is on expanding Love Bonito's tech capabilities across its international e-commerce business and its network of 16 physical retail stores across Southeast Asia. But the young CEO says she also wants to focus on growing the retailer's community services, such as styling and wellness workshops, to help other women realise their professional and personal goals too.
I think the goal at the end of the day for us is to reach out to as many women as possible, and specifically the modern Asian women, through the clothing that we create, through also then the workshops that we host for women, in helping them understand the different body types, body shapes, and how to dress up and show up for themselves. I think that's something that is really, really very close to our hearts. It's really true because I grew up not the top in the class, I don't come from a rich family, and if I can have a chance to be able to pursue my dreams and make a difference and make an impact in this world, anyone can.